Cosmetics company Estee Lauder saw its shares get hammered on Wednesday after cutting the sales outlook for the third quarter. This as the beauty market in Asia recovers more slowly than expected. The group, which also owns high-end brands such as MAC and La Mer, and also its own line, says it expects sales for this year to fall between 10 and 12%. Sales in the U.S. and Europe improved for the quarter, but they couldn't make up for the big dip in sales across Asia, including South Korea and China. Meanwhile, other luxury brands, including LVMH and L'Oreal, are reporting a rebound in their Asia sales after the COVID restrictions have been lifted in China. A 2020 report by consulting firm Bain says Chinese shoppers will account for nearly half of the global luxury market by the year 2025. That's helping sales and for luxury makers such as LVMH, which owns Louis Vuitton, Tiffany, and Dior. Its revenue in the first quarter was up 17% compared to last year, driven by a big rebound in China. Also, French rival Hermes saw sales in Asia, excluding Japan, up 23% in the quarter. Now, for more on the luxe market in China, Sally Ayhan spoke with Angelito Perez Tan Jr. Angelito is the founder and CEO of business consulting firm RTG Group Asia, and he begins by talking about the growing representation of Asians and Asian Americans at this year's Met Gala.
Powerhouses like Michelle Yeoh, who was dressed in Lagerfeld, and her co-star Ke Huy Quan. They're fresh off their Oscar haul for Anything Anywhere. And you know, in addition to that, you have also Western-born Chinese stars like Eileen Gu and Simu Liu. And all the way to, you know, even your Korean stars you have to mention from Blackpink. You know, Jennie from Blackpink, she was actually the final muse from Karl Lagerfeld at the Chanel house. But I think what's really interesting also is that having global Chinese stars like Jackson Wang. Jackson Wang is definitely of the moment right now among both Chinese within the mainland as well as globally. So you're able to see a lot of Chinese and Asian representation, and I think that's a really special moment.
Now, of course, the luxury market took a huge hit in China, but the industry is starting to rebound now. How has the industry grown, and will it keep going?
I'm very bullish about the Chinese luxury market. I think that, you know, we're looking at right now, the numbers that we have are about $120 billion for the luxury market in China by 2025. That will account for roughly 25% of all luxury goods and luxury sales globally. So I think that the Chinese market in general and its growing capacity to spend is something that is going to drive luxury growth for the global region in general.
Can you talk to us a little bit about the culture of luxury consumerism in China? I mean, just simply by the account from Bain & Co. stating that Chinese consumers will account for almost half of global luxury market in 2025 is remarkable. Where does this come from, and who is buying all of these luxury items?
Well, the growing middle class in China is certainly a big force to be reckoned with. And you're not only seeing this domestically, but then you're seeing global Chinese travel. And that's something that obviously the pandemic was stunted that a bit, but that's going to change in the next year, especially with regulations changing and restrictions in general for travel. So you're going to see a lot of Chinese traveling around the world and kind of picking up their mantle as the #1 purchasers of luxury. I mean, luxury in general in China is not new. People in China have always gravitated towards expensive items, you know, whether it was gold, porcelain, etc. But you're seeing a lot of brands that have targeted the Chinese consumer and understanding kind of what it is that drives them, what ticks them, and I think you're seeing that pay dividends today.
And what kind of things are they purchasing? Is it mostly fashion, or is it, you know, luxury items across the board?
Well, we're seeing a lot of, you know, because luxury is a broad category, right? And what we're seeing is a lot of consumers today interested in, as I said earlier, travel. Travel is one of the biggest indicators of where they want to spend their luxury dollars. And so these could be luxury vacations, experiences, etc. But also experiences that have to do with, you know, automotive. I think automotive is going to be a big driver of luxury purchases for this year and for the next coming years. Especially with markets that are growing like electronic vehicle markets. So the Chinese EV market is something that is really spectacular right now, and I think it's of a moment where you're going to see a lot of Chinese homegrown brands, especially out of the EV market, as well as the Chinese wine industry that are going to start growing, and that consumption is really, there's no limit.